going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Now today, we're back with the lads at TGC. We've got an interview that they actually did, I think about a week ago now. I am taking a little bit of time to get to it, simply because it is an hour and 6 minutes long, so I'm unsure if I should chop this up into 2 parts and then put it into one video, or if I should just sit here for an hour and 6 and watch the whole thing. But hey, firstly, if you guys are new, subscribe. Original link in the description. If you haven't checked it out for yourself, I'm sure you have. The legends at TGC right here. We've got the great man, HARSHA BHOGLE on the Asian Century. Let's just get into it. I've got nothing more to say. We've got an hour and 6. Get your snacks. Get your mum. Get your dad. Get your pet dog. Let's go. Come on.
Often,
HARSHA.
we find ourselves with a scarcely believable opportunity to speak with an ornament of the game. And today's one of those. So,
Graham, looking around. There's someone on the St. Joseph's Cricket Club.
Are they at St. Joe's Cricket Club?
about to intro them, but
Okay.
Sorry,
we are sat here at the mighty St.
Wait, hold on a minute. Axar Patel's ex? Is there something I'm missing here? Axar Patel's ex. Okay, I didn't know they were in a relationship. That's quite cute.
Joseph's Cricket Club, in rude health with 7 men's teams, a women's team, 20 junior teams, and an all-abilities program.
Damn!
And they were only too happy to make space for this interview once they found out who we were interviewing.
Yeah.
Like so many, I regard this man as the most authoritative commentator in cricket.
Probably.
He's certainly the voice of cricket in India. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you, in the flesh and on the drive over here, I can understand why in 1992 he was voted the sexiest voice in Australian radio. and still remains.
Yeah.
But not only that, so you've got a wonderful jawline, Harsha.
Hey, true.
I can see why people are drawn to that as well. And you have a very winsome smile I'd like to ask you about later on as well.
A winsome smile.
So with that in mind, it's a pleasure of a lifetime to welcome to the great cricketer HARSHA BHOGLE. HARSHA, welcome.
I've listened to some of your podcasts. And
Geelong supporter. Oh, HARSHA, we're going to have to talk about this. Geelong supporter. If you guys don't know and you don't follow AFL, they actually did beat my team, the Sydney Swans, in the AFL Grand Final, which is like the Super Bowl, the title, whatever. No, I don't like this, HARSHA. You're going to have to get rid of this. No, sir.
Irreverent, I'm just waiting for the respect to die and for your original selves to emerge. You know why she said he's the possessor of the sexiest voice? 2 reasons. One is she never heard Indian accents before, and she couldn't use that adjective about anything else about me. So it's okay.
It's a nice voice, though.
Yeah, facts.
You have a lovely,
Come on,
it's a baritone voice, and we've had the pleasure of hearing you sing just to warm up off air. We all sung together a barbershop quartet song.
It gets deeper as you get older. I promise you, as you get older, your voices will get deeper too.
Thank God. Was it always a nice voice, though? Were you always blessed with a beautifully deep voice?
Yo!
I didn't know. I was in my high school, and the school principal was judging the school elocution and debate team. So 5 of us had to go and do a talk, and he was going to select 2 of us. And next to my name, he said, "Good voice." And I said, "Who's that?" Never thought of it that way. Never ever thought of it that way. But just as the camera doesn't like me very much, I think the microphone prefers me.
Gee, you've done pretty well for someone who the camera doesn't like.
No, it doesn't like. I look at people in front of camera and I realize how hard I've got to work to look presentable.
Well, it's a very recognisable voice and a recognisable face, of course. In fact, just beforehand, a guy came up to you and said, "HARSHA," and he shook your hand, like your old friends. I can guarantee you had no idea who that person was.
Look, I come from a country of a lot of people.
That's true.
Yeah.
So if you're known to a lot of people.
That's true.
If you're criticized by a lot of people. So everything happens in large numbers.
So where does HARSHA BHOGLE go to escape it all, to not be recognised? Because apparently it's not Geelong, because you're recognised here.
Indians have become great travelers.
That's true.
So everywhere you go now, you see Indians. And
True.
if you've been around for as long as I have,
I love that.
I left my walking stick behind. If you've been around for as long as you have, there's somebody who'll recognize you somewhere. Because after all these years, if somebody didn't, then you start to think, oops, did I do something wrong?
Yeah.
But they're polite, it's okay. I mean, it's not like I'm Shah Rukh Khan or Amir Khan or I'm roaming, I can't walk the streets.
Yeah.
No. In Mumbai is very cool. Mumbai's got such mega stars that you just slip under the radar.
Yeah,
Cool.
true.
Yeah.
Since we, as the grey cricketer, started chronicling what we're titling the Asian Century, after Rishabh smashed Hazelwood down the ground and knocked over our fortress at the Gabba, you've been I'd say, in the top 2 most requested guests on
Serious?
this show. Seriously.
That's because your show's going to India.
Well, it is. There are Indian players who you would imagine would be more requested, but Harsha Bhogle comes in.
Because
so
they know
high.
you can't get to the players. I'm reachable.
Well,
Hey,
yeah.
okay, Harsha, you're being a little bit modest right now. Hey, Harsha, he could be the most requested name. Forget what's that guy called? Virat? Rohit? No, Harsha Bhogle, baby. Come on.
We're working on that.
Come on.
Sometimes
I mean,
if you
if
pay,
they said, if they said, can you get Virat Kohli on our show? You'd said, yeah, in the next birth when I'm born is Virat and they're born is Sam. And, yeah.
well, every time somebody asks, just get Virat on the show. We say, if you can give us his number,
Yeah,
that'd be
exactly.
great. But yeah.
I don't have it either. If that's where you were headed.
That's a lie!
Yeah. No, I mean, cricket's such an emotional game. You're you're probably the chief narrator of cricket
Yeah,
around
probably.
the world. And we live in the age of the internet where like provocation is part of the business model. How do you maintain such popularity with people when really provocation is what sells?
Bro, okay, last pause of the video, by the way, last pause, but what the hell does provocation mean? Man, do I need to get my English up or
I
something?
think provocation sells for a week, a month, at best a year. Beyond that, I think the classic brands still sell. I'm not trying to point towards being a classic brand, but I think the brands that endure are the brands that are dignified. And I've always felt, maybe it's the wrong lessons I got early on in life, but it seems to work for me, that on television, I've told this to a lot of people, some people listening might think I'm repeating myself, but on television you go into people's houses. And
Yeah, true.
I mean, two of you can be reverent sometimes, but when you go to visit people, you're still respectful in people's houses. And I've always believed that if people switch on a television set and I'm hosting a program on television, then they're doing me the honor of watching my program. I'm not telling them, listen, you don't sit there and watch me. So I've got to behave in a manner that is acceptable. It's dated. It's dated. I wouldn't recommend that to younger people in an internet era where
Hey.
they're looking at.
Because I was going to say, if you put my videos on and I'm swearing the whole time with a bunch of, the family watching, oh man, it might cause a bit of controversy at the dinner table.
Likes and
Oh man.
mentions all the time. But that's a television I was taught, and that's why I'm quite happy to stay with it. But I've been lucky, yeah.
Well, speaking of the social media age, on Instagram you follow Dinesh Karthik, Ashwin, and your wife. What are you trying to tell us?
Is that it? Is that all the people
We
he
should put that
follows?
in a different order. I started following my wife and she wrote a book because she wasn't on Instagram before that. I don't get Instagram.
Nah, neither.
So I've got a couple of people who help me
I don't like it,
sort of
man.
with social media saying this is what you should do and this is what you should do.
Twitter better.
Twitter I'm okay, but on Instagram. And I say, I forget. Because originally I wasn't on Instagram because I thought it was all about taking your own pictures. And I don't have a good angle.
Feel that?
How many pictures of yourself do you
Oh
post?
man.
I mean, I know people who say when the light is that side, you catch the light. I've been in television all these years. I still don't know how to catch the light, what the right angle is. So I wasn't on Instagram. And already I was spending so much time on social media and on my phone.
Yeah.
So I said, if I follow more people, then that's another thing I've got to do.
True.
So Dinesh Karthik, because I was doing something with him, Ashwin, I did an Instagram live with Ashwin. So I was on, I started following him, yeah.
He had to follow him.
Can you think
It's
of
interesting you checked all that out.
how many? It's just 8.9 million Twitter followers, so you're doing pretty well with that.
Yeah,
I
hey,
think I caught the boom.
Twitter is
I think
better.
I got onto Twitter while it was booming in India, and it just grew. It just grew.
Nah,
and
Twitter
I'll
better.
tell you a story. I didn't make my own account. There's a friend of mine who said, I think you must be on Twitter. I said, yeah, how does one manage that? I said, I know. So I just waited. And then he said, no, you must be on Twitter. And then one day he just called and said, I've made a Twitter account. This is your handle. Just change your password.
Mr.
And
Bhogle.
that's how I got onto Twitter. And it became addictive. I think I do too much.
So what's your relationship to Twitter now? Because it's quite, the longer you spend on there, the more you realise it's so difficult to have any sort of nuanced conversation, which you can't really because of the limitation in, words you can use and also tone and inflection and all those things. But like, what's your relationship with Twitter now?
I still try and read as many of the mentions as I can. On a match day, it's too many.
Yeah,
So you
true.
can't always read them. But I pick up stuff from there because there are provocative people there, but there's also very sharp, perceptive people there.
Yeah. Me?
And they tell you things that you might have missed, or they'll pick up something that you might have said. some guy said, how much longer are you going to say, as well, on television? I said, oh, okay, I'll remember that as well. So you pick up little things. There's some very sharp, perceptive people there. So sometimes I just go through the mentions. I run through the ones where they're saying, oh, wow, or they're saying, oh, damn, whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes you pick up. So I try and do that, but I find I like the interactive nature of it.
Yeah, me too.
And sometimes you'd realize you get up every morning, just buy yourself another layer of skin, and it gets thicker and thicker as you go along.
Yeah.
So now I don't worry anymore about people abusing me or saying nasty things.
Facts.
Can you think of a moment when you where you were just floored by how revered you are across the cricket world, though? Like, is it fans with selfies? Is it legends knowing you, or is it farmers and unemployed youngsters busted for running a fake IPL, conning Russian punters into betting on it, and a guy from Meerut used as a commentator to mimic you?
Yo, hey, I actually told my parents about this like a few weeks ago, and they could not believe that the people in Russia actually fell for it. Like, man, they weren't even showing camera angles of the field. Like, the pitch was like made out of dirt. Man, whoever spent their money on those games, hey, that sucks for you, man.
Listen, if somebody mimics you and becomes famous, good on him. But I'll be very honest. Sometimes people don't like it when they're being mimicked.
Nah, they
I
don't.
said, oh, that's not bad. If he's choosing to mimic me, I must be doing okay. Because all my life, nobody has mimicked me.
Right.
Nobody
Really?
at all. I don't know if it's the intonation that's difficult or if it's the accent that's difficult. I don't know. Nobody's
You've been
mimicked
waiting
me.
for someone to mimic you. Yeah.
There, now you're being yourself. I can see the veneers going off. No, I wasn't waiting, but I didn't mind it. It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I didn't mind it. Just as you did the Akshay Patel stump story, I didn't mind that. I didn't mind it.
That wasn't us. That was actually.
Hey, I did watch that.
No.
I thought it was a great piece of commentary, that, though. I
Yeah.
mean, just for those who missed it, I think Akshay Patel kept hitting the stumps as he does, and I think you just made the point that he's in an ongoing relationship with the stumps. It was just that the extended metaphor was just asking for it, you know?
I know.
I'm
if
happy
I'd
for
known that
them.
you guys are going to listen in, I'd probably have been a little more careful.
I'm happy for him.
He is in one. I mean, he's going to destroy many stumps in the Australian tour of India, I think.
Depends if you
coming
play
up.
for the turn.
Yeah, that's right.
But Twitter's been fantastic for me.
Facts.
And long ago, I'll tell you, even before sort of went into became as big as it was, I remember one day my mother and her brother
Come on, Harsha, speak up.
talking about how they were young kids in Lahore before partition. Would have been they came to India on an army train in sort of middle of 47 in India, and partition happened in August of 47. And they were talking about where they lived in Lahore. So I just put on Twitter, and I said, for all my friends out there, this was their address in Lahore, and my mother and her brother very keen to know if it's still there. And there were people who went to that address, knocked on the door, told them that there's a friend from India who wants to know this, took pictures of the house
Yeah.
and sent them to me.
Wow.
And I've given it to my mother and her brother, and they're back to being little children looking, saying that window's still there, that road is still there.
Yeah.
But Twitter can do that too.
Hey.
Twitter is very, very interactive and very fast.
Yeah.
It can throw abuse at you as well if they don't like what you do. I mean, I've had my share of mistakes.
Hey.
We just felt like the opportunity to talk to you meant that there's all these kind of philosophical questions we want to ask you, or questions about the game. Having a man of such wisdom here, and we've only really started covering Indian cricket properly in the last few years. I feel like we're in a moment in Australia where the general public is just starting to see the future of cricket take effect. The ascendancy of domestic franchise cricket, international cricket becoming a lower priority for an increasing number of players. Not all, obviously. As a man who's seen a fair bit of cricket, how do you see the health of the game at the moment?
Financially in very good health where I come from. I mean, the BCCI has just had a meeting, and I looked at what their reserves are.
Fair bit.
And the mind goes back
Tell
to
me.
1983. India won the World Cup.
Yeah.
And somebody said these players should get a cash reward. Except that the BCCI had no cash.
Damn.
And so one of our greatest ever singers, Lata Mangeshkar, actually did a live concert, didn't charge for it, did a live concert so that the money they earned from the live concert could be given to the players as reward for winning the 1983 World Cup.
Hey, that's cool.
So now, when people sometimes say, it's a 2-hour flight, I don't want to go on a commercial flight, I'll just hire a jet. Maybe it's not a jet, just a little.
Wouldn't that be nice?
So we've
Come
come
on,
a very
man.
long way. So the health in India is very good because our population has become our asset. And when cricket is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, a lot of the sponsorship money gets directed there. So it's not in very good health in N-3 countries. It's
What's
in
that
decent
mean?
health in Australia, it's in decent health in England, it's in very good health in India, and it's in very poor health in all the other countries. And you see that reflected
Oh, man.
in the fact that they don't want to play test match cricket.
Yeah,
And
that
every
that
time I
is
say that,
big.
people-
And okay, last pause of the video. I'm so sorry for pausing so much, but that is so facts. Like the players from like lower tier countries that don't want to play international cricket anymore, which you can understand it because they want to go and make their money in franchise cricket and earn a fucking living, which is fair enough. But it does lower the level of cricket some places across the world. So yeah, I
Well, then
agree.
I'm anti-test match cricket. I absolutely love test match
Me
cricket.
too.
But you've got to look at the reality that's knocking you on the door.
Yeah.
That there's a lot of countries that cannot afford to play test match cricket because they're dependent on ICC money. They're not.
Yeah.
They don't have enough money of their own because their cricket economies aren't large. The economies might be okay, but the cricket economy isn't large enough.
Yeah.
And so a test match is a loss leader.
Yeah, you have to put
If
so
you
much
got
money
100
into it for
rupees,
5 days.
Okay, 100 rupees in your bank, and the test match is losing you 10 every time you host one.
Yeah.
There's only that many test matches you can host. And the saddest thing is what's happening in South Africa, where they're only playing 2 test series now.
Yeah.
Because they can't afford to play more. The West Indies can't afford test match cricket. Sri Lanka can't afford test match cricket. So slowly they will start to think, okay, finally I'm running an enterprise. I know it's an enterprise, it's a social enterprise in a sense, but I still need to have head over water.
You have to
So
make
they
your
start
money.
having more franchise cricket. What's happening in South Africa is a good example. They desperately need that league
Yeah, they are.
to be financially successful
Yeah.
so that they have another source of income. I remember when India first started making money and people were very upset that India was flexing its muscles. And I wrote this article that upset a lot of
Oh, man.
slightly left-leaning people.
Let's hear it.
And I said, everybody in power behaves the same across cultures. Everybody in power behaves the same. Whether it's the US Senate, whether it's India in cricket, whether it's England, who believe they own the game and call their ground the home of cricket. So I find that funny, but that's okay.
Oh no,
Yes, sir. Harsha, you're an absolute goat for that. The little England comment right there. Oh my God, that is just so. That's
ground.
legendary right there,
I find
baby.
that funny. I mean, Jeffrey Boycott said to me on air once, "This is the home of cricket," and I said, "No, it's one of the homes. Sydney Cricket Ground is a home of cricket.
Yeah.
The ground, the Eden Gardens is one of the homes.
One of the
so
homes of
whatever.
cricket. Yeah.
So,
Like, come on,
keep
man.
Going away. I forgot what I was saying.
no,
That's
no,
English
I
people.
wanna- I
Yeah,
wanted
so
to ask you about
they
that.
need that. Sorry, they need that T20 league to work.
Yes.
Because I'd said at that point that countries need to find their alternate sources of revenue.
Yeah.
And not be dependent on either ICC money or an India tour. Because I think India was flexing its muscles with South Africa.
No.
At that time, saying we won't play now and we'll play some other time and we'll only play so many tests. And they were having to bend to accommodate India because that's where the television money was coming
Yeah.
from. And I said, you must have alternate sources of revenue. Because I worked in advertising and I'd seen an agency that I knew go bust because 80% of the revenue came from one client. And when the client moved, the agency died.
Yeah.
So a lot of people didn't like it, thinking I was towing the line, but that's true. So anyway, to cut a long story short, I talk too much. To cut a long story short, you have to have these alternate sources of revenue, and that's coming from T20.
Yes. I wanted to ask you about attitudes that you observe from others as India rises as a power in cricket or has risen. I listened, and I know you mentioned left-right politics before. There was an excellent interview that Gideon Haig and Pete Lawler did with Ramachandra Guha 2 years ago, just after you guys beat us. And Ram's a historian. He says that there have been 3 superpowers in the history of international cricket. England, the sole superpower from 1877 to 1977 till Kerry Packer. Australia from 77 to around 2000, 2005. And then the advent of the IPL, India to now.
Yeah.
In Australia, like you had scenarios where summer was sacrosanct, everybody had to come out here. We destroyed everyone. There was jingoism, bad umpiring, hysterical media.
Great days.
Oh,
I
man,
wanted to
I miss
ask
it.
you, with Australia's dominance now well and truly over, what are your observations of the
Hey,
way
whoa,
people
whoa, whoa, whoa. Australia's dominance well and truly over? Did I hear that correctly? Let me just go back there. Hold on.
What are your observations?
Hold on, I
of
missed
the-
it.
With Australia's dominance now well and truly over,
Okay, I wouldn't say our dominance is just over yet. Give it a sec. Well, I was going to say if Will Pukowski could play, but we won't touch that. Okay, I'll edit that out. That was weird. Pause. Keep
what
going.
are your observations of the way people from England and Australia feel about the ascendancy of Indian cricket?
A younger generation, dare I say your generation,
Well, my
is
generation.
cool with it.
Yeah.
But there's a generation that lives in denial because they've seen the time when England gave a sort of punishment posting. It was called a punishment posting. England actually gave a hardship allowance to their players when they came to India.
Real?
And I thought, wow.
Yeah.
When we go to England and stay in the bed and breakfast, I don't get a hardship allowance. And I'm lugging my bags 3 floors up with a TV on the wall, and either you or your suitcase in the room, not both together. But that's a separate story. Also, it's coincided with young India being far more confident of itself. My father's generation, look, my father was 20 when the English left India.
Oh.
The English didn't just take away our wealth, they also took away our self-confidence. And so for my father's generation, survival was important. So if he got a job, and he couldn't take a job that was better in the long term, but was paying less at the moment, because as the eldest son getting in, as soon as he started earning money, the family started to see slightly better days. So you got a job and you held on to it for life. My generation saw a little bit of progress, because when my mother started to work, we started getting 2 salaries at home, but you didn't have 6 pairs of trousers. You were okay, but you had 2 or 3, and you did okay with those. We saw the huge change, my generation. I started off on a salary from India's #1 business school of 1,900 rupees a month. And even out of IIM Ahmedabad, you had to worry, where can I stay in Mumbai? So in the last 30 years, you've seen the growth. The new generation is coming and saying, so what? And they're a little more brazen, they're a little more aggressive. And so I think the world is starting to come to terms with the fact that this is a different India. So some of them are in denial. Some of them are in denial. Some of them say, we are not deep tea, but that's okay.
Do you go there? Like,
That's a red rag to me, don't go there.
well, I
No,
don't
we
know
go
if you
there.
mind me saying this, because obviously,
I heard your podcast on it.
oh yeah, and a few weeks ago,
He's a big fan of the show.
There was the non-striker run-out, or to use the vernacular others use, the man cad, rightly or wrongly.
Yeah.
And
The Dipti Sharma.
it quickly, and it will probably happen again, but it turns...
Well, hey, and we just seen it literally happen the other night with Ravi Ashwin against against South Africa the other night. It was like in the last over, I think, and he turned around and gave a warning. I think it was to Aiden Markram to, hey, you're out of your crease, mate. I'm gonna fucking take the bails off. Get back. Stop backing up halfway down the pitch when I haven't even let go of the ball yet. I like it. I like the man cat.
Perhaps a casual debate about people's feelings about the law to this.
I'm all
it
for the
started
man
to
cat.
take on this dimension of, I felt, moral superiority across cultures and who owns the game.
Yeah, I know.
And
That
once
was
I
weird.
detected that, I felt very concerned about the whole discussion. And you were kind enough to get in touch with me with your view about that. I hope you don't mind me saying that.
No,
and
not
when you did that, that really stopped me in my tracks to think, this is a discussion about something far greater, and he's becoming about something far greater than where the non-striker should stand. But it's fascinating to me, all those dimensions, all those layers that sit underneath a discussion between the Anglosphere and Asia about how to apply laws that were written by, the Anglos, and would I be right in detecting some of that feeling from you when it comes to discussing how laws are applied and how people try and own it, subtly or otherwise?
I love that you use the word culture, because that was the one Ben Stokes picked up when in replying to my tweet, and he said, do you think
Hey, the Kiwi legend himself. Hashtag F Ben Stokes in the comments. Hey, you guys know the drill. Come
culture?
on.
What I meant when I said culture was, your culture is what you're taught as a kid growing up.
He was
If
taught
as a
two
kid growing
cultures.
up, you're told,
Wow.
if someone's left the crease too early, you don't run him out, or don't run her out.
I think you
That's
do.
absolutely fine by me.
No, I'm taking the bails.
That's the way you choose to play cricket, that's fine. Someone nicks and doesn't walk, we were told as kids growing up, you must walk.
Yeah.
If someone doesn't, that's the way they choose to play the game. The Aussies always said, look, there's an umpire there to do a job.
Yeah.
That's okay with me
Yeah.
as long as you do not impose your culture on me.
Exactly.
So it's just as wrong for me to tell them as it is for them to tell me.
Yeah, to tell you what should be
So
the rule.
I was disappointed that they were sitting in judgment of a woman,
Yeah.
can't say girl, they were sitting in judgment of a woman who played by the laws of the game and gave her a lot of grief because she played by the laws of the game.
Yep.
And were actually on the side of someone who I thought, and I'm entitled to think that way because I don't know her individually as a person, was seeking to get an advantage. And I've
And
always
for God's sake, it was like it was the last wicket of the game to beat England in fucking England. And they gave, like, Dipti gave warnings. The whole India team gave multiple warnings before it and said, if you're not in your crease next time, I'm going to take these bails off. What did she do next ball? Not stay in her crease, and she got out. I mean, and then you had all of England saying, cheats, oh, this, that, we own the game, it's our game. Like, mate, England, we hate you enough. Don't make us hate you more, man. You chill out. You just chill out and sit in your corner and let the weather rain on you all day, all right? That's how we should leave England, okay?
Just
Just
thought
chill.
everyone says cricket's a
Just chill,
noble
England.
game, right? Cricket's a noble game. That's what we were taught when we were growing
Yeah,
up.
it's a
and I still
gentleman's
do believe
and
that cricket's a
women's game.
fabulous life lesson in itself.
Gentlewoman,
But
I meant.
nobility is, it's 19 yards between two creases.
Yeah.
If you want to claim the reward of running between two creases, then you run 19 yards.
Yeah, exactly.
You cannot say, I will run 18 and a half yards
Yeah.
and still claim the credit for running 19 yards and take the run.
Yeah.
And what I would like to see is a World Cup final, and it's not impossible because you've seen a World Cup final go on boundary count
Yeah,
bets.
we have.
To see a World Cup final where there's 2 runs needed to win, 1 for a super over, or as many super overs as you want, and there's a run-out opportunity at the striker's end, and the non-striker who's completed the run is in by a quarter of an inch,
Yeah.
but has actually left
Yeah.
the non-striker's crease 6 inches early.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that happening against people who are open to the idea of walking out and see what they say.
He's saying we want it against England. He is saying, he's trying to be subtle about it, but Harsha, I don't have any filter on this channel. I don't really care. He is talking about England, and we love this. Harsha, you're becoming an absolute goat right now.
So
Let's
there's
go,
laws of
Chad
spirit.
Harsha.
I think when the game becomes so big, you've got to say, yeah, there is spirit of the game. What is spirit of the game?
Chad Harsha.
Yeah, well,
Well,
who,
what's the game?
the-
Who
you know,
decides what the spirit of the game is?
yeah,
Yeah,
those
exactly.
who believe they're in power, you know.
It's just the inner
The
self.
US determines how the rest of the world should be and sells them arms.
Yes.
Yep.
Australia said, we draw the line here.
Yeah.
India's now saying, we will not play here, we will not play there. Everyone in power flexes their muscles and says, what is right is what we think to be right.
Yeah, true.
And it's constantly in contest, yeah.
In grade cricket, there's a
Grade
spirit of cricket award at the end of the season.
Yeah,
And
facts.
the club that accrues the most points for spirit of cricket
Yeah.
wins the spirit of cricket award. And I remember consistently when I was playing, the worst bunch of blokes in the competition used to win that award every single year. But we had a beer after the game,
Yeah.
and they were really good for a chat.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what spirit of cricket is in Australia.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what
I
spirit of the
think
cricket
it's
is. In that very game, when Deepti Sharma ran out Charlotte Dean, it was also Jhulan Goswami's last game.
Yes.
And the
Yeah,
English
yeah.
and the English women gave her a guard of honor, and she walked through.
Yeah.
To me, that is spirit of the game.
Yeah, facts.
To say, I will not let you take my wicket because it's your last test match. Or I won't give you a freebie on leg stump to pull. I'll try and get you out first ball, but I will respect what you have done for our game till such time as you play your first ball. When you finish, I'll shake hands.
Yep.
I love the idea of people shaking hands at the end of
Yep.
a match
Yep.
because that reminds you that it is still a game.
Yeah.
We have all these war references and whatever, which are nonsense. It's not a war, it's just a game. But to me, that is spirit of the game. To say, once the game is over, we're still friends, guys. When you cross the line, we play hard. When you come back off the line, and that's why I like the way the Aussies play. So you play hard, and then you're friends again.
Then you have a
To
couple
me, that
beers
is
after
spirit.
it.
That can toxify too in Australia because sometimes
Yeah, my word.
sometimes players go, I'm going to behave almost criminally towards you on the field, but if I say to you, let's have a beer afterwards to
It's all
sustain
good.
my alcohol problem, then I'm all of a sudden a good person.
Yeah, it's all good. Let it slide. I mean,
Advantage.
I didn't mean to make that comment about your mother and your dying sister. I didn't mean that. let's have a beer after the game. We'll sort it out. Jack Leach, it's okay. Take them glasses off. We're going to be fine.
The field, and in the handshakes, he was holding his door in the handshakes afterwards. So I was like, oh, well, he must be a nice guy.
Yeah, no, he's all right. He's all right. He didn't punch me in the gut after the handshake.
It's difficult, dangerous to make those assessments.
Yeah.
I once made an assessment about somebody, and I said, looks like a really nice guy, because they're coming back from the ground, and he was showing me pictures of his family and his daughters. And
That's
the
cute.
next thing I know, he's in jail for 6 years.
Oh, damn. What was he in there for?
Yeah.
He's someone you know, so we won't take his name.
Oh, man. He's back in the pen.
Just on the, we've really enjoyed covering Indian cricket and the Asian century and coming to learn more about the country, and what you say about young India is so consistent with some of our experiences, and most of our audience is that as well. Can I take you back to the moment at the Gabba where
Please don't.
India beats Australia, knocks us over? At the time,
Really?
were you expecting? Was that an arrival of sorts for you when thinking about this Indian cricket team? Were you expecting consistent dominance from then on? I mean, this is when we started getting from Justin Langer, etc. These comments like, "Well, there's 1.3 billion of them; they should be winning all the time," and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that, or do you think the team is still a work in progress, and that kind of utopia of India destroying everybody is still a ways away?
The 1.3 billion is an interesting one. People often say you should win more Olympic medals because you're 1.3 billion people. Effectively, we're 150 million. We're not we're not 1.3 billion, because for a lot of people, survival is more important than aiming for an Olympic medal.
Yeah, than playing
because you're
cricket,
1.3 billion, if you want to look for rich people, you'll find them. If you want to look for poor people, you'll find lots of them. So we are lots of countries in one. We're a miracle of geography. That we're all one country, and we're still doing so well. But when you're 1.3 billion people, that makes it so much more difficult to select a team.
Yeah.
I remember many years ago,
It's a lot of
I
nets.
was stars in my eyes. I got to interview Sir Garfield Sobers.
Wow,
And I'm thinking,
Gary
don't
Sobers.
make a fool of yourself. Don't make a fool of yourself.
it's like us now.
And I said, how come Barbados? How come Barbados, such a tiny little island? He said, because you don't lose any players.
Hey,
He said,
facts.
where you come from, you probably lose more players than we have.
True.
So the 1.3, it's okay. Yeah, but Rishabh Pant? Yeah.
Yeah.
20 years ago, you wouldn't have seen that. You watched Rahul Dravid play. Even the second coming of Tendulkar.
Yeah.
The early Tendulkar was the first sign that somebody will bat like that. I mean, you had players before. You had Farooq Engineer, you had Buddhi Kundaran, you had the
Viv?
Sehwag. You had players like those.
Viv?
But the Tendulkar Mark I was someone who played white ball cricket like that. I think that was the inspiration for a Sehwag. But this generation will, Hardik Pandya, Rishabh Pant,
Sky.
they back themselves.
Yeah.
Earlier, when we learned to play cricket, and we played only a low level of cricket, batting was about not getting out.
Yeah. It was just block.
And I've said this before.
Leave.
We lived in a very socialist, state-controlled economy, where your salary was all you had. We were a very saving, survival-driven society.
Yeah.
So you hit the ball in the air, that's another way of getting out, not a way of clearing the fielder.
Yeah.
So batting for us was not getting out.
Just keep it along
Not
the
scoring
ground,
runs,
boys.
Not getting out. And so you had test matches played at 1.8 runs and over.
Yeah.
The new generation says, yeah, I'll get out.
We got 4 or
But
5.
if I don't get out, I'll win.
Yeah.
When we were at school, we were always, not us, but so many around us, were put in coaching classes for subjects we were weak in. Today's parents are putting kids into classes where the children are good at.
Yeah.
So the Rishabh Pants of this world will say, if I go over the fielder and I get it, I've got a 4. My generation would say, but if I don't go over, I'll get caught.
Yeah.
So that's the difference.
The
They see what
confidence.
is possible. We were scared of what might happen, and I think that is the Pant, Hardik Pandya kind of generation.
Yeah.
I hope Rishabh just keeps playing the way he does. There's no real suggestion that he will not, but like there was a conversation not that long ago about play Sahar, he's the better wicketkeeper, and then
I got a lot of grief for that.
yeah.
Why is he laughing?
And then Rishabh gets out the way he does in South Africa, where
Yeah.
he gets talked out really.
Yeah.
But then he's just won so many games. You
Yeah.
know, the Gabba was just one of many now that he scored these Test hundreds. I mean, the guy could have had like 15 Test hundreds by now.
I know.
90s, doesn't he?
I know.
I just hope he doesn't like suffocated by the weight of
Being told what to
criticism,
do.
I suppose, which is inevitably going to come with the population and the scrutiny and the
Yeah.
love of the team.
Hey, and we only have to look as far as this T20 World Cup to not see him in the team anymore. I mean, look, before Dinesh Karthik even went to RCB, Rishabh Pant was in the team. He was never going to move. And then all it took was DK to have a great finishing role at RCB this year. And all of a sudden, Pant was out of the frame. So all it could take is Rishabh Pant to have a few bad red ball games. And then they bring back a Saha. They bring back... Name me some more wicket keepers. KS Bharat. Like, I don't know. There's plenty of keepers in India. So, Samson. So, I mean, Pant. He really does have to keep his form up. But I think we all hope he does not change the way he plays cricket, because it is so unique to him that is why people watch him, you know?
That I just hope
So what's he looking
he
at?
just keeps going, because this guy might be... He's on track to be better than Gilchrist, like something we've never seen before.
Yeah.
That is such a big name to take,
Yeah.
Gilchrist, because
Gilly?
Gilchrist did it for a long time.
Sure.
I'll tell you 2 or 3 things about Rishabh. One is his keeping has improved beyond recognition.
I agree.
Yeah, he used
So
to
we
let
always
go
thought he was a bit
buys
of
all
a
the
flapper
time.
behind the stumps. But his keeping to spin on turning tracks in India has improved beyond recognition.
Yeah.
So that is one thing. He has captaincy ambitions.
Vice
But I
captain?
still think he's a far better test player than a T20 player.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Agreed.
Because as Sehwag said about David Warner,
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah.
say.
as Sehwag said about Warner, you'll be a great test player because all these shots that you're hitting in T20 cricket, they're all boundaries in test
Yeah,
match
in
cricket.
Test cricket.
So Rishabh, I think, is a better test player than a one-day player, than a T20 player.
Yeah.
Because sometimes in T20,
You go
as we
big.
used to say about Sehwag, he
Too
tries
early.
to play quicker than Pant.
Yeah.
And maybe and I was doing a cricket buzz show with Sehwag, and he said, I think Rishabh needs to figure out what he wants to be in T20 cricket. Does he want to be number 3? Does he want to be number 5? Does he want to be a finisher? Does he want to be a top order destroyer?
Yep.
And our expectations from Rishabh are so high
Yeah.
that he tends to get weighed on different scales as everybody else.
Yeah.
And so we've got Dinesh Karthik, who's at the age of 37,
Yeah,
38,
DK.
hasn't played for India in the T20 World Cup since 2010,
DK Popper.
has reinvented himself
Yes.
as a 15-ball batsman.
Yes, sir.
20-ball batsman. But there's no doubt. I mean, Rishabh will do well.
Mr. Popper. Woohoo.
I thought when he improved his wicket keeping, that I thought there's a very serious young kid here. This is not just someone who wants to go and bash the ball. And he used to travel 3 hours up to Delhi to practice, get a game, 3 hours back home with his mother. Mothers make more cricketers than fathers, by the way. That's my view.
Yeah.
So he's had it the hard way. He's not had it easy. But sometimes in India, what happens is we have people who've worked their backside off through disadvantaged families or families that haven't had very much, and suddenly these riches welcome them. It's very difficult to stay grounded. That is the biggest challenge in our cricket. How do you get these young kids to stay grounded? But I think largely they've done a very good job. I think you talk to someone like Hardik, who's matured beyond recognition from someone who would shoot his mouth off sometimes. Rishabh is headed there. I think he's a
Oh, I
good
miss
kid.
that.
So hopefully he will, yeah. But Rishabh is very popular in Australia, I've noticed.
Yeah, facts.
Aussies like people who come and do well against them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
actually,
they're
I was
the
going
only people
to
we respect, you know, and we don't watch anything that happens while we're asleep, which means we're still waking up to the IPL. But
Which is also why we never rate New Zealand.
But the IPL is a great...
Oh, the
IPL is
Kiwis,
greatest
man.
mass migration of Australians to India, isn't it?
it's
Yeah,
players,
it's
migration,
yeah,
yeah.
that's right. All
Yeah.
seem to be going over there. I don't know why. It's funny with Rishabh, isn't it? Not to labour on him, but his cavalier approach can sometimes look reckless to people. But we were talking to Shane Watson, who's helped us out a lot, who coached at Delhi, who said that he works so hard, Rishabh. And you're right, he's an extremely ambitious person behind the scenes. That sometimes the looks can deceive. But I suppose where he goes wrong with Dinesh Karthik in the T20 side is he doesn't own the array of shirts. that
Yeah.
Dinesh Karthik has.
Facts.
You noticed that?
Yeah.
Big facts. Hey, and he also doesn't have, the special helmet like DK. I mean, DK is wearing a full Power Rangers mask on his head. Like, it's just different, man. DK Popper is the man. Come on.
For many years, and that was one side of him I didn't know either.
He's a fledgling broadcaster himself as
Yeah,
well.
true.
I was going to ask you
Mr.
about. I guess broadcasting is your Test cricket, and that's something that you're a legend of the game at. I mean, who do you like in terms of players who have made the transition to broadcasting, whether it be calling themselves or being analysts or whatnot?
I go back to what Ian Chappell told us when we were starting out. Chappelli is my guru for work ethic. He's outspoken, he's got a point of view, all that's fine, but his work ethic, absolute professional. So I'd look at Chappelli and say, okay, that's how you must be as a broadcaster. And he said, if you're a former captain, you get 2 years in the box. If you're a former player, you get 2 years in the box. If you're a former captain, you might get a 3rd year in the box. After that, it's how good you are as a broadcaster.
Yeah.
And I tell all the young players coming, I can say that now because I don't know how much longer I've got left, so I'm a little more secure. But I keep telling them, if you try and pretend to be the expert in the box, there will be another expert coming along soon.
Exactly.
Who's more relevant than you are.
Yep.
If you can try to become a broadcaster,
Yeah.
then you've got a much longer future.
Yeah.
If you just say, you know what, I've played 25 test matches, yea, you all, behold, come listen to the oracle, you don't have much of a life.
Nah.
So what I liked about Dinesh Karthik, before he went to England for Sky, he just messaged me very politely saying, whenever you're free, can I have a word with you?
Hey.
I said, DK, we've known each other for a while, just call. So I called him back and he said, what are the things I need to be careful about? How do the breaks work? What do I need to do? There's 3 commentators.
He was awesome commentating there as well.
He didn't say how many shirts I need to take.
By the way.
I mean, I love gigs where they give us clothing and there's one blue shirt, one pink shirt, one gray shirt, and you just have to pick one of the 3 and go to the game. But he was prepared. He knew what he was getting into. He works at it. He set up a little studio at home with a little backdrop there. So he's very serious about what he wants to do. I think Ashwin is very serious about what he wants to do.
Yeah.
He's becoming an Instagram star. He's multilingual.
YouTube
too.
as well.
So I like players who look upon broadcasting and give broadcasting careers 70% of what they give as
A player.
when they were players.
Yeah.
You can never give 100%. I mean, can you imagine going out, open the innings on a Boxing Day test match, and it's not the same thing working on a test match as a commentator. But if you can say, this is my second career, and I will give it 70%, 80% of what I gave my original career, you'll be successful.
Yeah.
I know Ian Bishop is a guy that I really like, and I know that
Everyone does.
shocker, yeah. So Sachin's last game, his last innings, you and Ian Bishop were on commentary, weren't you, together? And you had like a real nice bit of like camaraderie where he sort of like held back and he let you speak because he knew that
Big man.
you had a stronger relationship with Sachin, right? And that's that must be a great skill to work with as well. That comes with like years of broadcasting. You're not getting in the way with another person, not
Yeah.
thinking that your voice is more important than someone else. And I just recognise that just thinking about Sachin's career and big moments that you've had as well. But that's also down to a camaraderie in the commentary box, a very tangible thing that you can relate to, where teamwork is important. It's as important who you work with than like even Sam and I. Like it works better with 2 of us. No one really cares what I have to say unless Sam laughs at it.
I think what you're just saying is me getting in the way of you.
Yeah, facts. Hey, stop talking.
I want to be harsher to.
Yeah.
Am I getting too serious on this program? Am I holding you guys back from being who you are?
Hey.
Are you trying to be too respectful to age?
No, I suppose I'm just thinking like
No,
who
but you may
you
know.
work with is
It's very important.
It's very important,
Live
yeah.
television is a team sport.
Yeah.
Live television is made by the engineering crew.
Yeah, true.
All the others,
All
the
behind
anchor, the
scenes.
frontman, the commentators,
Yeah.
they're all the icing on the cake. Someone else bakes the cake. We're all the icing on the cake. Sometimes we're only the ribbon on the wrapper. It's done by the camera crew, the sound crew, increasingly the graphics, and
Yeah.
especially and the analytics crew.
Yeah.
They make the telecast.
Yeah.
We're the ribbon on top. But it helps to be a team. And I still remember Bish that day. I've actually said thank you to him because when I sort of looked at him, and we're on camera so I can show it, he said, and after a while I said, Bish? And after a while, all he said was, yeah, it was you knew the thing better. But he said, I wish every young cricketer in the world listens to what Sachin just said. That's all he wanted to say at the end. And I said, thank you, Bish. And it's just, I knew Tendulkar since he was 14.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So I knew, for example, I just told somebody, I knew he was going to go back to the ground and bend down to the ground and sort of play a base and come back.
Yeah.
But what happens when Carlos Brathwaite is batting with 19 left? Who's on air? Why does that happen?
Yeah.
There's good things happen to good people.
Harsha,
But it's common broadcasting etiquette. Sorry, it's common broadcasting that if someone from your country is
Doing something.
your country is about to win,
Yeah.
then it's your voice that goes on it.
Yeah.
And it comes with being secure in the box.
Yeah.
If you want to hog that one line, then you get known very quickly. But it's general broadcasting etiquette
Yeah.
there. Suppose you and me are on air together, and we're calling the T20 final. It's India versus Australia. Maybe it's Maxwell. Maybe it's Tim David.
Timmy!
And
TD!
It's 3 to get off 3 balls.
Oh, we're
We'll
winning.
do the calling.
Yeah, we're going to win.
So are you saying that
Go TD.
Sky got it wrong in the 2019 World Cup with Ian Smith?
Yeah. Man.
He's a seriously good broadcaster.
Yeah, I know,
But yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Can I ask, I mean, we're talking about all these great moments in cricket, you know, Sachin's last game, 2019 World Cup, Rishabh Pant dominating the Gabba, etc. But, I mean, really, cricket about 90% of the time is pretty drab and boring. And you're the narrator, and you, I'm sure you wake up in the morning like a lot of us, and you're very grateful for the job that you have. And I know that you will say that, so I'm just closing that argument off for you now. But when is cricket boring for you? You know,
Man.
Maybe not boring, but when do you wake up and go, day 3?
Yeah.
What's going
Game's
on?
over.
Because, you know, we play grade cricket. We revel in the darkness
Yeah.
and the brutality and the drabness of the game.
Yeah.
You know, do
How
you
can
have
you
days?
revel in the brutality and the drabness at the same time? How can brutality be drab?
Oh, man, it just is.
Okay. I'm
They
gonna put them in
correlate.
family of parts of cricket that aren't great, you know? Do you have days where
man.
you just think, cricket, it's...
27th over of a one-day international that's going nowhere. 27th over of a one-day international.
Yeah.
That's when you say, right, 13 overs left for the game. You say, no.
23.
23 plus 50. That's 73 overs still to be played.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens because as it used to be now, where overs 15 to 40 are a non-aggression pact between the two teams.
It does feel that way,
It's
doesn't
not my
it?
line. It's not my line. That someone else said it first.
ceasefire.
Yeah. So sometimes in the middle of a one-day game or in a test match that's going nowhere. Luckily, what T20 has done is it's shown people the power of aggressive cricket.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't mind what Brendan McCullum is doing, or Kiwi. I don't mind what Ben Stokes is doing.
Ben Stokes.
I don't mind what
Yo!
Ben Stokes is
He
doing
thought of a Kiwi.
with English cricket. Saying, I'll always
That's another Kiwi. I know.
the positive side of being aggressive rather than what if I get out. Then Test cricket has become so much more exciting now than it used to be a little while ago when you were playing for survival. Playing for survival is drama of its own.
Yeah.
But still cricket is still earning a livelihood.
Hey, cricket's my favourite sport. It'll never be like boring in a sense, but when, I can agree, when I've, been playing grade cricket or whatever it be, and it's, 50 overs, you're about 10 overs in, 15 overs in, the other team, they're going pretty well here. What's that? They're none for 85 on the scoreboard after 10, and you're thinking, oh man, it's going to be another long day in the field for another 40 overs. That's the only, I think fielding is the one thing that makes me just a little bit, but at least when you're watching cricket, you're not watching people field, for the whole time. Unless it's test cricket and then the other team's about 8 down and then they're just blocking for the next 30 overs. Then it can get a bit tedious.
Life can't be better.
Well,
Or when
can
you're
we talk
watching
about some
England,
of your
that can get a bit
great,
tedious.
I was going to say catchphrases. Do a turn of phrase over the years. There's been so many good ones.
Yeah, it does.
Are there?
Do I just? I've got
a
a couple here. It's got a couple
It
here.
actually scares the daylights out of me that people remember.
Well, I've actually been chronologing this, chronicling this for decades now. But do you remember when you said, "Doesn't matter what your hamstring or groin is saying, you are a champion"?
Huh?
No.
You don't remember that?
Who's that to?
Oh, it's a famous one.
I've never... No, no one's brought it up so far either.
Oh, okay.
It's actually our title slogan of our IPL show.
Yeah, we-
probably
When did I say that?
illegally.
You said it in the IPL final. Trent Bolt was bowling.
Oh.
You said, "Doesn't matter what your groin or hamstring is saying, you are a champion."
Okay.
Champion.
I like
champion,
it.
Champion.
Champion.
I think we put the echo on.
So that's right. Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. You don't remember that?
No.
I think you black out when you're commentating. I think
Yeah.
that's what's
Gets
going on.
all the adrenaline.
But it's true, I don't remember the next day.
Okay. What about, oh, what a shame. It's like a soldier who survived the war when all the bullets were flying by his nose and then got run over by a bicycle in his native town.
Yo! What?
What was that one?
I've been reminded of that many times.
Okay.
That's
I think
brutal.
It was either Sehwag or Tendulkar had gone through a very torrid phase and then got out to a part-timer.
Ah,
That's
brother.
right. It was Vaughan getting Tendulkar
Michael
out.
Vaughan getting
Oh,
Tendulkar bowled
man.
through the pads. Luckily, I know Michael very well now, and he never stops reminding us about the fact that he's got
I can
Tendulkar
imagine.
bowled through the pads, but he's also got somebody else bowled through the pads like that, through bat and pad, the classic off-spinners dismissal. Yeah.
Who was that? Who was the other one? Oh, yeah.
It's your age to remember, not mine.
Open the textbook, turn to page 32.
Tendulkar straight driving Ishan
Oh,
Sharma.
you're all right. That's your ringtone.
No, because on every birthday of mine, someone pulls these things up and sends
Oh,
them to
really?
me.
Okay. Okay. What about when you said this in reply to someone, but I never took my shirt off?
Oh, in the bedroom?
I think it was the sort of.
Oh, to Ganguly?
It was the sort of.
Oh, man.
About him taking the shirt off at Lord's.
Oh,
And you know,
oh.
that became a seminal moment
Yeah.
as a coming of age of Indian culture
On
looking
Lord's.
to England and saying sort of, words that some others are more comfortable using, but he took off his shirt at Lord's and everyone said, wow, this is India going into the bastion of English culture and being irreverent about it. But yeah, I told
Up
him-
yours, Freddie.
One of the homes of cricket. Look, I don't mind them calling themselves a home of cricket. It's okay. But they can't tell me to call it the home.
Yeah, facts. Hey, that's big facts.
Any place that's home of cricket, this one is. You guys are.
St.
I was
Joseph's?
going to say to those listening, you've got the hum of the drinks, I guess, holder there. It's got beers and wines, and
Nice.
you've got people walking in and out, looking at us, going, "What's going on here?" The great vista. These are, if these walls could talk at St. Joseph Cricket College, what would they say?
Would there be a criminal investigation, I suspect?
Yeah.
That's right.
Maybe.
We shouldn't be on the school grounds. But
Maybe they're whispering carpe diem.
yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, get out.
Which of you two is Robin?
Neither.
We talked to Greg Chappell a few years ago, who was, speaking of those symbolic moments, sort of with his rig out at Lord's.
Yeah.
And Chappell was saying that India is much better at identifying good cricketers from its vast population. Would you agree with that? Do you think it's?
Well, just look at their
and do you
team.
think there's more to improve upon there as well? Do you think India's gonna get better at finding all of those cricketers that may still get lost, as Sobers said?
But then only 11 can still make it to the national
Yeah.
side. So you might end up delivering hope and not being able to fulfill that hope. And that's why the IPL is so good, because the IPL's given a stage to so many people who wouldn't otherwise have dreamt of being on that stage.
Yeah.
So suddenly you've got 10 teams, 7 Indians at 70, so you need about 100, 110 players, where earlier 15, 16, 17 got the stage. Now 110 are getting that stage. So it's encouraging a lot of people to come through. But I think kids in India play more cricket than anywhere else in the world. Because you've got under 14, under 15 tournaments, you've got under 17 tournaments. By the time an Indian goes to play the under 19 World Cup, he's played far more cricket than anybody else. There have been people who go to the under 19 World Cup with first class hundreds.
Yeah. Which is remarkable.
Pujara was scoring a triple at 14, 15. Tendulkar
Yeah, it's
got
ridiculous.
multiple triples at 14,
Yeah.
15. There's a lot of players like that who, and I think one of the good things, and that's not yet been affected by T20 cricket, is they still play reasonably long form cricket at a young age.
At domestic,
so you
yeah.
find a lot of them have good techniques. I think our grassroots coaching for batting is still very good. I'm not sure it's as great with fast bowling, but it's our grassroots coaching with batting is very good. So you get all these people and they play such a lot of cricket. You've got interstate under 15, interstate under 17 cricket. So they play a lot of cricket. So they get identified very quickly. And the under 19 World Cup is huge in India.
Yeah. Because they always win it.
Everybody wants to play the under 19 World Cup. And so Rahul Dravid said, I think when he was coach, he said you can only play one, you can't play two. Because that solved two things at one time. It prevented people from staying under 19 when they no longer were.
Yeah.
Which you won't understand. I mean, you could be 20 and claim to be 18.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that is what he was trying to prevent.
Yes.
And he said, if you've played the under 19 World Cup 2 years ago and you're still playing the under 19 World Cup, you're not grown enough. So only one under 19
Okay.
World Cup.
I still think I could play under 19.
Me too.
I'm 36.
I'm a
I
chance.
just get some Botox, but I think I could
I'm 20.
fudge some paperwork and.
Yeah, just shave twice a day. Yeah. No, under 19's okay. Under 19's okay. I saw an under 15 World Cup with a kid with a full-grown beard playing.
Yeah, I remember
Under
those days.
15 World Cup.
They used to have those. There was one long ago. Shoaib Malik played that. I think
Oh,
Mohamed
no.
Kaif played that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yuvraj might have played that. Under 15 World Cup.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That was always the thing when you were playing as a teenager, though. You'd turn up and the opposition team would have their fast bowlers bowling on the other side of the wicket, and one of them would have a beard.
Yep,
and you'd be
every
afraid of them.
fucking time.
It was never related to how fast they were at bowling, but just the sheer ability to grow a beard and the masculinity of it.
But if they were wearing a white shirt, white trousers, and a black belt,
Oh, man.
you knew they couldn't. That's right. That's right. They turned up from karate class.
Yeah.
The wrong ground.
Not even
man.
that black belt. It's a proper leather black belt. I mean, I learned that when I was playing lower division cricket. Our school used to play in the league system in Hyderabad, and we were in the C division. And we used to have company teams also in the C division. And the bosses had to play, right? So the company teams were often 7 or 8 decent players, and 3 bosses who had to play because they did the assessment, employee assessment at the end of the year, so they had to play.
Yeah.
They had to get good batting numbers. And when we saw people wearing a black colored belt and a little protuberance around the middle, you knew you wanted to be batting when they were bowling.
Yeah.
right.
And you know, as soon as they come onto bat, it's a fucking bouncer straight at the helmet first ball
So you
too.
weren't worried about the beard there.
Yeah.
I wonder if W.G. Grace was any good, because I think that was his setup as well.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was set up. Yeah.
Yeah, and he also put the bills back when he was out, didn't he?
Yeah,
Oh!
that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, but they were allowed to do that because it was sort of their
that was-
game.
yeah.
and
Yeah, it was their game. They owned it, right?
And they tell stories better than anybody else.
Yeah.
They chronicle stories better than anybody else.
Yeah.
If I could ask you to get your crystal ball out, Harsha,
Oh, man.
and obviously everything you say will be wrong, and you'll be criticised for it.
I love the way you're trying so hard to be correct and yet irreverent. So be irreverent, come on.
Where's the IPL going? Because at the moment it's what, 3 months, 3 months.
Almost 2 at the moment, but it will become 3.
Right. Now, like within our lifetimes, or maybe 10 years, are we going to look back at season 2022, season 2023, and thinking, wow, why was the IPL only 2 and a bit months long? Do you think it'll be 6 months one day? Is it going to be? Will it overtake international cricket? Do you think?
I remember thinking about
Hope
this
not.
7, 8 years ago, and thinking whether cricket would move from being nation versus nation to the football style. Club
Man, I
versus
hope
club
not.
You occasionally played for your country, but I think the culture, the respect, the tradition runs far too deep in our game.
Yeah.
There's still the great desire. I mean, the Aussies romanticize the baggy green. In India, we say the men in blue.
Yeah.
There's so much pride that's been delivered across generations.
In
of playing for your
international.
country that I don't think cricket will go the football way,
Yeah,
but it might become lesser and lesser. And you might find franchise cricket getting stronger and stronger. It will all come down to television ratings, in my view. We can, 3 of us romantics can sit here and talk for 6 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours about where the game is going. It will eventually be determined by television ratings.
And money. That's all
Or
it is.
increasingly in the internet age, by number of hits,
Yep.
number of views,
Yep.
because that is where the money will come in, and it has to be a self-sustaining enterprise. So
Yep.
commerce must live alongside the romantic. The romantics die early if there's no commerce associated. So it might, I don't know if it'll go beyond 3 months. Already people are saying 94 games. Long-running soap operas. Can it be, what's the longest running soap opera in Oz?
Well, it's probably Neighbours, but it just
How long?
Home and away?
well, it just closed down. Actually.
Home and
Very
away!
sadly. 30 years,
Home and away has
30
been
years,
going for
5 days a
longer.
week?
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big in the UK.
12 months a year.
So,
Yeah.
oh yeah, big time. Yeah.
So can you have a 3-hour episode, 5 days a week,
Oh,
7
brother.
days a week, round the year,
Probably
6 months
not.
a year? Which is what T20 cricket does.
Well, hey, in saying that, I mean, I do love enough cricket, but damn, like imagine that many games a day. Not how many games? 92. I mean, man, I think they've got the perfect balance. I don't think you need to, fix something that isn't broken right now. I think the IPL's in a perfect position. Maybe they add on a few extra games. Maybe they add in maybe like a wild card scenario of like where the teams that finish 5th and 6th can compete for another final spot. I don't know. There's definitely things that they can do in the future to improve the IPL and make it, if they ever run out of people that are watching it, which I don't think it'll ever happen, there's definitely going to be a lot of ideas that they can switch
Live
up
sport is the last
around
appointment
the
viewing
IPL.
in the OTT era, in the streaming era.
Yeah.
Live sport is the last appointment viewing left.
Yeah.
You can earlier you watch the news or there's a movie coming on at 8 o'clock, the whole family finished dinner
Yeah.
and all took their plates and sat down at 8 o'clock
Yeah.
waiting for the movie to start.
Used to be the time.
And then in India, we waited 10 minutes for the ads to get over.
I feel that.
And then it just got into this dramatic scene. What's going to happen
And then
next?
an ad.
6-minute ad break.
Yep. Yep.
And a 2-hour movie ran for 4.5.
Yeah.
But we were okay with that.
Yeah.
Now we're not.
Yeah,
so
now
there's
we're
no
not.
appointment viewing left.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a question I cannot answer. Whether it'll last 6 months. Because if the IPL lasts for 6 months, then what happens to the Big Bash? And what happens to cricket around the world?
Yeah.
Or do the borders go like they've gone in football? Just go and play wherever you want? I think 3-month IPL is a reality. The 3-month IPL will last for a while, and India's ensured that there's no other cricket happening at that time, so the best players are coming there. But definitely franchise cricket will grow in importance.
Yeah.
And in some parts of the world will overtake or is already in the
Yeah,
process of
South
overtaking
Africa.
nation versus nation
Yep,
cricket.
UAE.
I mean, you look at the West Indies team that's come to the T20 World
Yeah.
Cup. Who's not in it is more news than who's in it.
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Hetmeyer?
Yeah.
And I
Messi
noticed Desmond Haynes said, is that a bird?
That means something else
Wait, I think it's Shimron Hetmeyer bordering his plane. Oh no!
in this country.
Does it? I'll tell you what scares the daylights out of me. Is coming to Australia, making a perfectly harmless comment, and fearing that it means something else. Was that a winged creature?
Was it a
That
winged
is- that is
creature?
amazing. Only we'll know what just happened.
Yeah.
Harsha,
A bird. He's talking about a woman.
Accept that
think right.
that world cricket is ultimately paid for by Indian TV money, and Indian TV money comes from analysis of Indians watching TV.
Right.
Is it? And you're probably reluctant to speak for your country, but
Yeah.
do Indians want the IPL as cricket more than anything else? Is the IPL the main game in town? Do you think Indians are interested in Test cricket as a TV property?
If you look at viewership data, Indian T20, when India plays T20 cricket, that is still the #1 viewed sport.
Okay.
When India plays a big one-day international game, it may not be quite there. And then there's the IPL. So if India's playing a World Cup final, there's no comparison to that viewership and an IPL viewership. But over a period of time, day in, day out, the IPL gives you more viewership than anything else in India. Maybe anything else in Indian television at the moment. So maybe not on one big day, but the IPL has now created, over 10, 12 years now, it's created a very large local fan base. So if Bangalore are playing, then the viewership in Bangalore shoots up. If Mumbai are playing, the viewership in Mumbai shoots up. It might drop in Kolkata. But overall, it looks very good. The IPL, I don't think it'll ever become bigger than playing for India.
Nah.
Though in all honesty, Quinton de Kock was asked a couple of years ago, what's the biggest moment in your life? And he said, winning the IPL with Mumbai Indians.
Yeah.
And then someone said, South Africa. He said, but we haven't won.
Exactly.
But it will.
Exactly.
Yes, the IPL will. But you know, global powers wax and wane. Who would have thought that England would be going through the financial trouble, political trouble that it is when they once ruled the world? So at the moment, it's the Indian consumer who's fueling world cricket. Not as much. The BCCI is tapping into the Indian consumer. It's the Indian consumer who's the most important person in world cricket at the moment.
Yeah.
But will it be the same 15 years
I
from
think
now?
so.
Would you have said 20 years ago that the Indian consumer will rule world cricket? When I started to tour, I had to fill 30-page forms in triplicate to get a foreign exchange permit and got just enough foreign exchange to last the tour. I could not take you out for a meal or a drink.
Jesus.
And that is in my lifetime. Who knows where the game is headed? So, if you told me 30 years ago that it's going to be like this, when I came to Australia in '91, I knew exactly how much money I had on me, and I had to be careful of how much I was spending. And so, if you told me then that this is what it would be now, you don't know. So, no idea where the world is headed. Suddenly, India's economy might crash. People might say there's a scandal brewing somewhere else. The IPL is not really what we thought it was. And just like the dot-com bust, people talk about the dot-com boom, the dot-com bust, you don't know where it'll go. People might say 20 overs is too long. Let's play 5-over cricket.
And for the love of God, I pray to Lord Cricket. You know, I pray to the great man Don Bradman upstairs. I'm telling him, please do not let T20, T10 cricket in Abu Dhabi, in the UAE, I can deal with that. I can deal with T10 at a most. But if we ever become T5 cricket, I'm fucking out of here. I mean, I'm not out of here, but man, I would struggle to enjoy, unless it's like 4 back-to-back 5-over games, and then maybe you could sit there and watch it. But man, I mean, you guys know where I think cricket's going to go. I think as long as it can break into the mainstay of the USA, and over there, it's just going to double in size, triple in size, and then it's going to be more of a USA-India competing thing, which, you know, as an Australian, I'd prefer it to be us, but we have too many sports here. So I think if it can break into the USA, obviously the 2024 World Cup in the USA as well, hopefully that can bring some more, you know, money and attention. But no, I think international cricket hopefully will always remain up here. And if you are someone who watches international cricket but doesn't watch any test cricket, make sure you are tuning in to test cricket, every international format, because, hey, that's the way we can keep these formats alive. Yeah.
Someone once told me, sir, will there be a time when teams will go to toss and come?
And do you know how much Bitcoin you've got on you now?
I don't have any Bitcoin.
I don't have Bitcoin either.
You know, sometimes it helps to be technologically challenged.
Yeah.
I have no idea about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But I
idea.
just follow. I noticed it was $40,000 and it's come down to $17,000, $18,000.
Yeah.
My friend Alan Wilkins bought into Bitcoins and he can't get out.
He can't get it out.
Oh, Alan, what have you
It's a scam. He's been scammed.
done? What have you done? Now and talk about the current World Cup. There's no Bumrah, there's no Jadeja. I think there's 5 of the guys haven't played in Australia before. Will India win any games this World Cup? Will they make it out of the group? Will they ever play cricket again?
Oh,
Why did it take you so long to demonstrate at that? I don't think India are favourites. No, I don't think India are favourites because I don't think India. I think bowlers win tournaments. I think batsmen win you matches, bowlers win you tournaments. And I don't know if India have the bowling, and whether that'll force the batsman to feel the need to score an extra 20, 25 runs. I genuinely believe England and Australia are the 2 best teams at this tournament. I think Australia a little bit more than England because I think Australia bowl better than England. Bumrah's is a huge loss because all of a sudden you're saying, okay, now who bowls at the back end?
King Arshdeep Singh. That's who bowls at the back. And of course, this video was filmed before, you know, right before the World Cup started. But hey, India had the win against Pakistan. They then smashed the Netherlands. They then just lost to South Africa, even though they did that to kick out Pakistan of the World Cup. But, you know, they are going really well at the moment.
And so I need 2 bowlers bowling at the back end. I need more overs at the back end. So who's going to bowl up front? Therefore, should I play Ashwin ahead of Chahal? Because Ashwin might give me 2 overs in the power play. So the whole bowling structure got changed. So, and it tells you if the absence of one cricketer can spoil your balance, it means you don't have enough cricketers. We were talking earlier about how many cricketers there are. And I'm not too worried about the batsmen not having come to Australia before, because with analytics and television and I mean everyone knows everything. It's the other way around when Australia come to India. I think David Warner's played more matches in India than some of the Indian players.
I think the Australian batters are better suited to playing in India than playing here.
Bit of spin,
Small
bit of
boundaries, you
slow.
can hit 6s too.
They probably play more T20 cricket in India, to be honest.
Yes,
than they play
IPL.
here.
Warner makes TikTok videos in Telugu.
Woo! Yeah, I know.
Warner South Indian.
Yeah, I know.
He used to be from Sydney. He's South Indian now.
I think he feels more respected in India than he does here.
In Hyderabad, which is my original.
Yeah.
He is absolutely loved, and when they let him go, there were protests and there were big social media
As there
movements.
should
And
have
we
been.
want Warner back. They call him Warner Garu, which is a form of respect, sir, coming back. And Warner and his family were welcomed in Hyderabad. So just feel like that. A.B. de Villiers is God in Bangalore.
In Bangalore.
So anyway, but we're moving off. I think Australia better placed actually, and I think the big move was Tim David.
Yeah.
I mean, you could see it 3 months ago. Tim David had to play in place of Steve Smith. See what T20 has done. We're questioning Williamson, we're questioning Smith, we're questioning Kohli. Root doesn't even get a game.
Yeah.
See what T20 has done.
Yeah.
15 ball players are got their place in the side. I think Australia, England are looking one at the moment. I think Pakistan are dark horses.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't question Kohli. Have
Oh,
you
man.
just questioned Kohli on this show?
He'll never play again. I can't believe you just said that.
Yeah, wow.
Go on, clickbait.
Wow.
That's what clickbait is.
One hour. So I didn't question him. Yeah, we didn't question Kohli at any point.
Hey, you know, my title of this video is going to be Harsha Bhogle questions Virat Kohli. This could get interesting.
I deny what I said. This is deep fake video. These cruel Aussies are trying to drive a wedge between us Indians.
Photoshop!
I think I'm looking forward to Kohli this tournament.
If there's one place Kohli, you'll always back Kohli to get form in it.
100%.
Australia.
Yeah.
Has killed us.
Rahul Dravid in England. England always to the rescue.
Yep.
Maybe it's Australia to the rescue.
Even his fielding form in that warm-up the other day, direct hit, run out, catching the boundary. He looks happy.
He's so fit.
Yeah.
He wants to be Djokovic.
Yeah.
He measures
like
body fat and whatever. He looked at himself in the mirror in 2012 and said, can this kid become a world-class player looking the way he is? Because he's a proper West Delhi boy. You know, eating what West Delhi boys do, which is chole bhature, oil food and whatever. And he said no. And he just went on a fiendish diet.
Yeah.
On the rare occasion that I've met him socially, very rare occasion that I've met him socially, we were in Aravinda De Silva's house in Colombo. I'm not name dropping, but he'd invited everybody. And there was Kohli in front of me. And I looked at his plate and I said, you can't eat porcelain. There's nothing in your plate. He said, no, I'm just looking around. And he pecked at the salad, he pecked at something else, but he said, I can't eat that and I can't eat that and I can't eat that. And this new generation is so careful about what they eat and how much they train and how many Instagram videos they've posted of them in the gym. I'd love to do that. You talk about Instagram, I'd love to post pictures of me doing weights in Instagram and get someone to morph the pictures and make the weights bigger.
Yeah.
I think that'd bang on social. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
There you go.
Get on it,
Someone
Harsh.
tell me, Uncle, be careful. Uncle hurts. Uncle hurts.
Actually getting massive in the gym. I
Yeah,
like it.
imagine. Big
There's
chat.
obviously a big game on Sunday, India-Pakistan.
I've heard of that.
I'm not sure if you've caught the news. There seems to be a bit of tension between the two.
A little bit.
They don't want to play. The Asia Cup is obviously in Pakistan. India not going. Pakistan then saying we're going to pull out the World Cup. Is that going to add any level of spice to it? Does it need any more spice? I mean, this is the biggest game maybe Australian cricket's ever seen because these two countries have never played in Australia before. The game
Is that
sold out in
true?
half an
No,
hour.
they did. They played in '92 in Mackay.
Okay. Okay, in
World
Mackay.
Cups before.
Wow.
We've played in World Cups before.
Not in Australia.
Not in Australia.
Not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2015, the 50-over World Cup in Adelaide.
Did they?
Yeah.
2015 in Adelaide.
Okay.
Crick info here.
No, I promise you, I was at that game. That was the one evening I ordered room service in Australia.
Nice, you just remember that. What'd you have?
Order.
Yeah, where'd you get?
I don't know what I ordered,
Yeah.
but I didn't have the option of going out for a meal.
Oh, man.
Because you could not see an Aussie in Adelaide that day.
Yeah.
Right.
You walk around, there's that mall in Adelaide, right at the back behind where the hotel. It's a beautiful mall.
Yeah.
Where you can do things you can't do in India. Just sit out and have a nice Thai meal or Italian meal or whatever. I don't know what Aussie food is, so
What
is Aussie food? We'll talk about that later. And you could not go because the city was overrun. I thought I was in Indore or Nagpur or something.
Yeah.
And after India won, we normally like to walk back from the Adelaide Oval. It's one of the great walks in the cricket world. One of the great walks in the cricket world is walking from wherever you are to the Adelaide Oval. And
Yeah.
we were told you cannot walk back.
Yeah.
So we had to get into a car, and it took us half an hour to get back, and the streets were absolutely full. The closest hotel room you could get was 70 kilometers outside of Adelaide.
Damn.
So there you were.
What? So you still don't know what you
About
had?
3 times bigger than Adelaide. So
2-hour pre-show.
yeah.
Then I'm hosting for Star. The first hour went along absolutely smoothly. Then they opened the gates and started playing the music. And promise, 1+2, so right? I'm hosting with the 2 guests, right? I'm hosting. I could not hear a word of what you were saying.
Yeah.
It'll be like that at the MCG.
So it's going to be like that, yeah.
It will be. But I don't think what's happening outside the ground will bother the players. Because I think the players are very, very aware that they don't control what happens outside.
Sure.
They don't have a voice. It doesn't matter what they think about what happens outside because their job is just to go out and play.
Play cricket.
We sometimes forget that players need not be as worldly wise. They need not understand economics and politics and anthropology. They're just there to play cricket. So it won't. I don't think that will matter. It's a small thing in the tension in India-Pakistan. It's a tiny factor. Will we play the World Cup in 23 October? 23 October is there.
What about this World Cup?
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, who thinks about what's 12 months away? We're not long-ranging. We're not doing a long-range economic forecast. It goes wrong anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So just to conclude, Harsha, I know you're possibly disappointed that there hasn't been more irreverence in this discussion, but we will leave it.
I have a feeling this is going to be the most boring great cricketer podcast ever.
No,
because
no. Hey.
You would just...
Let's not.
I was actually, when I said to you before I came, I'm nervous about doing this because you guys are just too quick-witted and too sharp and too smart, and I'd be... So, I look old.
No.
Another generation. You guys have been too nice.
Well,
Let's do another 5 minutes and be yourself. Come on.
Oh, I was gonna say, I feel like we've done well because we're exiting this interview with you having questioned Kohli and then diminished India-Pakistan relations to something only small.
Yep. Hey, and then he also spoke about who cares about the 2023 World Cup. I think I did hear that somewhere as well. So, wow, plenty of content to come out of this one. Goodness me.
And they'll be the two lead headlines probably for the next
Hindustan Times are taking this one and running with
2
it.
days in
No, I
global
just think
sport.
that doesn't matter before an India-Pakistan game.
ESPN
Political
Crick
decisions
Info.
change very quickly, you know.
Shit.
And Boris Johnson is Prime Minister one day and next morning he isn't. So.
MJ?
And I think that's happened in Australia as well.
Yeah.
One morning you go into a meeting as the Prime Minister and suddenly you realize there's been a revolt and
Yep.
you're outvoted.
There
And
you
you
go.
come out and you're no longer the Prime Minister, sir.
And no
So
one
you're saying
cares.
Rohit might not be captain?
Wow.
Yeah,
Is that-
now you're getting
Wow.
somewhere. Now
You're
you're getting
egging us
somewhere.
on.
The fish are not biting today. Rose will be captain for a little while longer.
Yeah. Oh, what did he say?
I am actually conscious of your time, Harsha, because I think I'm the only one who can see it, and I know that you have another date to get to. So, and
Date is a
by
nice-
date, just another arrangement.
Okay.
Listen, I've got this opportunity. You know, a date can mean many things. A date can mean many things like that bird.
Yeah,
Date can
yeah.
mean many things. The winged creature.
Well, whether it's a winged creature that you have a date with or just work, Harsha Bhogle, we did want to reflect your own dignity in this interview, and I think we warmed up to it quite nicely, and hopefully the viewers have had what they wanted from it. But hopefully it's not the only time we chat as well, because we'll be coming over to India and may even be joining you in the Star Stable. I don't know.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time. St. Joseph's Cricket Club, thank
Be
you
ups.
for your time as well.
Yep.
And wishing you all the best for the World Cup and whatever else is ahead for you.
Thank you. Happy to play host in India when you come along. India-Australia Test Cricket.
What about me?
It's fantastic. It's one of the great things in the sport still. India-Australia Test Cricket. So come along to India.
We'll
Can we
do.
come to your house?
Come along. Welcome.
You won't be there, but we can just come to your house.
Good knock on the
No,
door.
no, I'll see to it that I'm there when you come. Why would you want to come to my house when I'm not there?
Yeah.
I don't
What did
know.
you have in mind?
I've got a few ideas now.
Yeah. Odd question like to ask off air, but yeah,
Yeah,
when you're
maybe.
here, you can ask anything. How much do you make? No, I'm kidding. No, don't answer the question.
$5 billion.
Shit.
Well, anyone who's stuck with this interview has been rewarded by
There you go.
Harsha Bhogle, thank you so much.
Cheers, man.
Hey, that is going to cap it off the 1 hour interview. I did it in one part as well, so hey, big ups to me. The man Harsha Bhogle, firstly, just the absolute legend, one of the great commentators we've ever listened to. I love that he's a part of pretty much every big cricket moment. This has been an absolute incredible World Cup. A great interview. Big ups to the lads at TGC as well. Like, if you haven't gone and subscribed, I'm sure you know who they are, but go subscribe to them, show them some love. This is one of their best interviews, so hey, keep it up, lads. I can't wait to see what they have next with their channel. If they ever want to get in touch, I'm here, you know, it's whatever. Hey, subscribe if you guys are new. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see everyone in the next one.